Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marilyn Bruce. I am a Ghanaian based menswear fashion designer. So today I'm gonna be taking you guys through how I made this 3-tier mermaid gown, and I really loved working on this project. So these are the following materials and equipment that you're going to need for your project. And before you start any project, you need to illustrate whatever design that you want to achieve on paper. This enables you know what you're working on and also helps you avoid any kind of mistake, because your illustration serves as a reference point, and then you are able to draft everything on your brown paper. So here what I'm doing is drafting the basic bodice block pattern, both the front and then the back. So it's from this bodice block that I'm going to derive my design for the wedding gown from. There is a tutorial on how to draft your basic bodice block on my channel. I think I would leave a link to that tutorial in the description box so you can check it out. I had to make the speed of this video a little bit fast because I don't want my video to be too long. Videos that are very long tend to be very boring at the end of the day. My last video on how to take measurements was quite long and I didn't really like it. So I think you can just watch what I'm doing and it's quite self-explanatory. So after I was done drafting, I just went ahead to cut my pattern pieces, and I'm also going to cut these pieces on my fabric. That is my bridal satin that I'm working with. So I have gone ahead to cut 2 of each. One is going to serve as the lining, and then one is going to serve as the main garment for the lace, which is the bridal lace that I'll be using. I'll also be infusing each of the pieces with fabric interface, and as you can see I have labeled all my pattern pieces because I'm working with a lot of pieces, so you have to ensure that you label them. If you don't label, you're going to end up getting confused, and this is what a fabric interface looks like. So I'm going to infuse this on all my pattern pieces before sewing them together. Now that I'm done working with the bridal satin, I move on to the lace, and then what I'm doing here is I'm ensuring that the patterns are symmetric before going ahead to cut. So with my hammer ready in hand and all my pattern pieces being cut on the lace, what I'm going to do now is to break the beads on the allowances of all my patterns, and this is going to help me have a free sewing without breaking my needle. When breaking the beads, you need to ensure that you protect your eye. This safety precaution is very necessary because you do not want the beads splashing into your eye. After joining all your pattern pieces together, the next thing to do is to create your boning channels, where you are going to insert your bone for both the lining piece and then the main garment. and we usually bone our dresses because it gives structure, and that is what I want to achieve. So I'm using one hand to sew and the other hand to record using my phone, and that was a bit difficult. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm done sewing all my boning channels and I'm ready to insert the bone. But what I do is, after cutting the bone, since it becomes very sharp on the edges, I either use a nail file or fire to burn out the edge just to smoothen it out. If you don't do this, there is a very high chance of the bone ripping out on your garment, and which is going to destroy it. I have gone ahead to bone my two lining pieces. One is going to serve as the main lining, and then the other is going to serve as a base for my lace. So I stitched my lace different from the lining base because I wanted to avoid bulk. So here I'm just ironing my bodies. I'm going to do that to both the lining piece and then the main garment. So whenever you're making a garment, you need to ensure that you iron frequently. This is going to allow your dress come out very well. So after ironing, what I'm doing is just attaching the lace piece to the lining piece and treating it as one. So after, I'm just going to do a basting stitch, or I'm gonna hand tack the lace onto the lining so that it doesn't shift or doesn't move. After you're done pinning, it should look something like this from the outside and like this from the inside. You're going to move on to the lining, and on the lining you're going to attach your breast cup. So there's so many ways of attaching the breast cup, but me, I'm just going to use my machine to stitch all round, but you can also tack using the thread and the needle. It depends on you, but I prefer to use the machine because it secures the breast cup more, and then it also saves me time. So as I mentioned earlier on, I'm going to stitch all around the edge of the breast cup onto the lining. After I'm done with this, I'm going to sandwich my yoke, which is an illusion mesh, in between my lining and then the lace, which is the main lace bodice. I've already gone ahead to do that off camera, and what I'm doing here is just pressing the edges down so I have a finished good look. And guys, ironing is very important. It gives your work a very nice finished look. So after doing this, I went ahead onto the skirt part, which I've already joined the sides. And here what I'm going to do is I'm joining the main bodice, which is the lace, onto the skirt, and I'm going to join the waist part of the lining as well. So what I'm doing is just joining the main garment to main garment and then lining to lining. So after I'm done with this, what you're going to see is that the all the rough edges are going to be hidden inside, and when you flip your garment inside out, you're going to see a very finished, good looking garment. You're not going to see any rough edge. So that is what we want to achieve. So this is what I'm talking about. As you can see from the upper part of the gown, you can't see any rough stitches, you can't see any rough edge. So all the rough work will be inside the main garment, like it's gonna be inside. I don't know whether you understand, I don't know whether what I'm saying makes sense, but this is what I mean, guys. So after I'm done pinning, you're going to see what it looks like from the inside. You're not going to see any seam allowances. Everything will be hidden inside. So this is what it looks like, guys. Next, we are going to be working on our loop. So this gown is going to have a lacing at the back, and I'm creating the loop channels where I'm going to be putting the lace. After looping and lacing, we move on to the main deal of the gown, which is the three-tier part. So this gown comes in 3 layers. We have the third layer, the second layer, and then the first layer, as you can see in the illustration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an inner base, and the inner base is going to come in 3 layers. I'm going to have the first lining to protect the body, and I'm also going to create my own petticoat using the hard net. So I'm going to sandwich the hard net in between 2 layers of circle skirts. As we are moving on, I'm going to demonstrate, so you're going to see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. So here I'm just constructing my circle skirt. So I'm going to cut 2 of this, and I'm going to sandwich my hard net in between before my 3-tier tool comes. So here I'm going to demonstrate what I was talking about previously. So this is the first layer, and it's part of the inner base that I was talking about, and it's to protect your skin from the hard net, which is the second layer. If you don't put the first layer, you're going to feel really uncomfortable because then the net is going to poke your skin. It's going to make you feel itchy. So it's always necessary to put your first layer and then the second layer before the third layer. So basically what you're doing is just sandwiching the hard net in between 2 circles, and the first circle skirt is going to serve as your base for your tool, your soft tool, which is the 3-tier tool. Sorry guys. So here what I'm doing is working on the 3-tier tool. The first layer, which is the very long part, the length is 30 inches, and I think I used about 20 yards for that. I used between 15 to 20 yards, I don't remember, but you can go ahead and use whatever. It depends on how full you want it. The second layer was, I think, 20 inches, and then the first layer was 10 inches, so the difference was just 10. So this is the first layer, and see how full it looks like already, guys. And then this is the second layer, so I went ahead and attached horsehair onto it, and then the first layer looks very beautiful. Moving on to the sleeve part of the gown, which is an illusion mesh, I'm going to be embellishing this using the same lace for the gown. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out the designs using a soldering iron, and this is hot the moment you plug it to a source of electricity. So what you do is you cut as many as possible patterns that you want to use, and one thing is you need to make sure that whatever design that you're achieving for the left, you need to create the same thing for the right. So what I mean is, whatever you are doing for the left hand, make sure you are doing the same thing for the right hand, so that everything appears symmetric and nice. So here I'm just arranging my patterns on the mesh how I want it to look, and then from there I'm just going to hand stitch or glue. There are 2 methods. So professionally you would hand stitch this, because stitching this with thread and needle wouldn't come off as compared to glue. When you use glue, even though it's very convenient, very fast and all that, glue doesn't last long, especially when it falls in water. It's going to come off. Some parts will come off, but obviously it's very fast. So this is my client's first fitting, and she complained that her chest area was showing, so there's a little something going on which was off for me, but then we had to take it off later because it wasn't looking nice. So this is the bride on her big day, and this is the final look of her gown, and she was very happy. I was happy, everybody was happy. Here guys, so this is the gown. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, you have any suggestions, kindly leave them in the comment section. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.